Hello, welcome to Widnes Rugby Chat episode 20. We're here at PD Law Solicitors, if you've not guessed already. One of our sponsors this season, along with Musical All Sorts, Arnold, Gorse Financial Management and Deals Jewellery. Thank you very much for that sponsorship. We're going to speak to the boss at PD Law, which is Phil Doyle, and a couple of his staff later on in the show. We've got a little bit of a connection with Widnes. One of them is an academy player, and we've got a winner of one of the half-time competitions recently. Before that, we're going to have an interview with Kieran Purtle after the game at Batley on Sunday. Of course, a disappointing 2018 defeat. I didn't think they should have kicked the penalty. I didn't think they should have gone for goal with the penalty from 3 minutes left. So obviously Batley kicked their penalty in front of the sticks to go 2018 in front. Widnes managed to get an offside call off the short kick-off, decided to go for goal. Unfortunately, Jack Owens, much to his frustration, missed the two. I think with 3 minutes to go, I think I'd have put it in the corner and had a good look at the Batley line. It was a good contest, to be fair. It was a really competitive match, and fair play to Batley for sticking that out. I think my reasoning for the penalty, I mean, Batley would have took a draw, so I'm sure that when they saw that Widnes were going for the two at that point, I'm sure they would have breathed a big sigh of relief. So disappointing defeat. You know, I wouldn't say it's necessarily top five hopes over, but certainly Widnes can ill afford to lose too many games if they are to make that top five. And of course, Batley away is one of those games that you probably wouldn't have down as a game to lose. I know there's been a few comments about the highlights. I know I tweeted them early in the week. The first Batley try, certainly there was a bit of debate about that. A kick from, I think, Dufresne was spilled by Sam Smeaton and then gathered for that first Batley try. It looked, I mean, live certainly looked a bit suspect whether there was a knock on in the air, and again on the video it looks a bit suspect. Still, I don't think it's as clear cut as what people are necessarily making out. The guy was in motion moving forward, and obviously when they're knocking the ball back sometimes it can look to go forward, but certainly there was an element of doubt. But bottom line is the referee gave it. I think my main thing was, you can clearly hear on the video, which is mic'd up to the officials, that they were calling knock on multiple times, Batley knock on, and nothing was given to that. We've since had qualification from my friend Ian Smith, who former Super League referee who's now involved with State of Mind. He clarified that the referees, basically the touch judges can advise, and obviously ultimately it's the referees the final call. I think touch judges have the final call. I think they said on in goal and on in touch, but everything else is for the referee. So presumably in that video it was the touch judge shouting offside. The referee was fairly well placed. He's obviously decided that it wasn't a knock on and gave the try. Don't forget, if the ball is knocked backward and then rolls forward, then it's not a knock on, as long as the first motion's gone backwards. And certainly I think you could make the argument that it went sideways at best. So unfortunate, that wasn't why Widnes lost the game. I've seen a few people say about the penalty as well that Batley got, where Dom Speakman was pegged for not clearing the ruck. I think it was a difficult one. Obviously you see more and more players play for those sorts of penalties, but ultimately if the shoe was on the other foot, Widnes would have wanted a penalty. Unfortunate for Speakman, of course. I think Speakman's he's lacking a bit of match fitness. It's a shame for him, because he needs to get him built up to deputise for Johnston, who's putting in a lot of work at hooker at the moment. So we're just very thin on the ground, of course, only using 15 players for the first 70 minutes, and then Speakman made it 16 later on in the game. But hopefully a few more bodies back for the game against York in the Challenge Cup on Saturday, which of course is an all new ticket, no season ticket game. So please do get your tickets from the club, because obviously all that money will be going into the current club, whereas of course season tickets were paid for under the previous ownership. So yeah, please do get your tickets for that one. 7:30 on Saturday night, so nice bit of Saturday night rugby league, which is a rarity. It's good news for me, because it means I can do my work at football and still make it to the match. We'll end it there for this part. We've got an interview from Adrian Jackson as normal. He was speaking to Kieran Purtle after the Batley game at Mount Pleasant on Sunday. Here's what he had to say, and then after that we'll be joined by Phil Doyle from PD Law Solicitors to find out a bit more about his connection with Widnes.
Kieran Purtle, we always thought this was going to be a tough game, and that proved to be the case today.
Yeah, we always knew it was going to be tough. It's a really tough place to come. I thought, I'm really proud of the effort the boys put in. We had a young team, and we lost a couple of bodies during the week, which, at the last minute, which knocked us around a bit. But I thought, from a neutral point of view, it was a really tough game, a good game. It was a competitive game, and I think probably ultimately second half they were just a bit too big in that middle for us coming down the hill.
Do you think that's where the game was lost?
Oh, it's a big hill, look at it. It's won and lost on the hill, everyone knows that. You don't need to be Einstein to work that one out. Well, we probably just weren't quite as clinical as we should have been in that first half and got enough points going down the hill. And second half, we probably played better than we did first half. We just couldn't hold them. And when their forwards start rolling down the hill, it's tough to get hold of the game. And it went right to the end there. We were unlucky with a couple of calls, I thought, for their tries, and then we nearly had a chance at the end there to get a draw. So I'm happy with the effort. I'm disappointed we've lost the game, obviously, but we've still got a lot to build on there with a young group of players.
Mentioning the absences, how destructive was that to the game plan today?
Yeah, it is. It knocks you around a little bit. Likes of Gels who had trained all week, and he just weren't right yesterday, so he dropped out. And obviously, you're always going to miss someone like Danny Craven as well. Our kicking game when Craven's on's probably the best in the league, and it's a massive loss for us. And also, he's running threat, so it does knock you around a bit. But we got some young guys came in. Sam Freeman did really well on the wing, and Walsh took an opportunity as well. And just probably unfortunate didn't get a chance to get Jaden Att on, but we'll learn from it. It's an experience for our young team, and we've got to dust ourselves off and go again next week.
Next week it is York in the Cup, and that's going to be a real tough game.
Yeah, York are playing really well. They've got a fantastic start to the season. Fordy's doing a great job there, and again it'll be another tough week for us. We've got to regroup and we've got to work hard and look forward to playing at home as well.
Cheers, Kieran.
No problem.
So Phil, PD Law Solicitors, one of our sponsors for this season. Thanks very much for that. Of course, it all went to the club. We were talking about that before in the Save the Club fund. Just tell us a bit more about PD Law, what you do, and.
Yeah, the firm's now been going for 8 years. Worked in Liverpool for most of my working life, and set up the firm on my own to offer a firm that gives a personal service to clients. I think too many law firms that I worked for, it was starting to be a conveyor belt sort of system where it was the cash at the end of it rather than the client care. So I set up the firm 8 years ago on my own, and now I've got 17 staff employed, doing an array of law from private client work of wills, probate, residential conveyancing, debt recovery, general litigation, personal injury, so an array of the civil side of the law really.
And of course you got involved with Widnes quite a few years ago now as a sponsor. Well, first of all, what made you come to Widnes as a business?
Yeah, I live in Widnes, so it was ideal to save time on the commute, so I could spend more time in the office if need be when I was setting up the practice. So rather than have a 40-minute journey, an hour journey into work, to have one that was only 10 or 15 minutes, it made a big difference really. And then to sort of give Widnes, to try and have a law firm in Widnes that was again geared to offering client care, that was paramount.
And obviously your sponsorship of the Vikings has probably put you on the map in some. I mean, if you asked me, name a solicitors in Widnes, you'd be the only one I could probably think of. I'd imagine. Yeah, and that's a good thing, because obviously I've sponsored Widnes for 6 or 7 years in terms of player sponsorships, match day sponsorships. People may know because I sponsored Kev Brown from the first moment he arrived in the club until he left. So I've always sort of looked to sponsor things, as I say, man of the match sponsorships and match balls, and try and get the name, the PD Law brand, out into the local community. And obviously, I know since Kevin Brown left, maybe your sponsorships for what, obviously that ended with when Kevin Brown was there. Obviously sad to see what happened with the club, but then good to see it now coming back to strength with a big fan push behind it. Yeah, which is great to see really, and I think it took everyone by surprise as to with the adverse sort of circumstances, to see how much the town sort of rallied and got behind the club to give it every chance to survive, take stock and then kick on again and involve the town to get behind the town team, as everyone keeps on saying, which is reassuring. And I think for the new owners, I think it gives them a lot of heart to take into the future really. And I suppose it's an example of that, as we were talking before, that through your sponsorship you have had people coming in, stronghold members, whatever, getting wills and whatever off you, which goes to show that there is some value to sponsorship, because people are loyal, aren't they? And people see you supporting their club and they want to help support you in doing that. Yeah, which is great to see, because as I say, we had clients who come in to see the PD Law branding in around the stadium or through various sort of events, the match ball sponsorships or tweets, whatever, and to come in and see them with the work, giving the legal advice, but also have a little bit of chat about the
the workings of Widnes at the same time in terms of what their sort of views were on performances and things, and have a bit of general chit chat, because it's just a bit of normality for them. That it shouldn't be a daunting experience to come into a solicitor's office. It's for normal people to have a chat, and down to earth, professional but approachable, and it's been good to get the sort of the feedback off them as to what sort of marketing that we're doing with the club, what was working and what wasn't, and how to become aware of my brand.
So obviously one of the big things you did was the half-time challenge. For the fans who don't remember it, just remind us what it was.
Yeah, it was the half-time challenge. I did a couple of half-time challenges. The first one being the Kick to Vegas challenge, which was done in conjunction with the club to try and promote the sale of Stronghold memberships, to give season ticket holders who are given the money that the club can rely on, guaranteed money, a chance to win a holiday of a lifetime, to thank them for their loyal support at the start of the season. And with regards to the Kick to Vegas competition, it was kicking into zones onto the pitch with different totals, the harder it was, the more points they secured, with a view to then to holding the final home game, and then the winner going off to Las Vegas, courtesy of PD Law. And
the first winner you had of that year, it's gone a bit better than, well, I don't know, he might be rubbish, but it's gone a little bit more beyond that whole fan engagement story. Tell us a bit more.
Yeah, it was interesting with regards to because obviously before the final took place, I met both finalists, and Jordan, who eventually won the competition, advised me then he was a law student and hopefully he was going to win the competition, but on the back of it he asked if there was any possibility of any work experience, which I was open to, but so after he won the competition and went to Vegas and come back, we got together. He came in here for a couple of weeks to get a feel of working in a law firm day to day. Made a great impression. I kept him on, offered him a full-time role, and then a couple of months ago he qualified as a full-time solicitor, so which was great to see in terms of for his hard work, but also great to see from how his life has sort of evolved from kicking a ball on a half-time on the Widnes pitch to furthering his career as well. So.
And a great unique recruitment story.
It is, yes.
I mean, you could sell that, couldn't you? This is how you recruit your staff. Get them on a half-time challenge. You could be a guest speaker. That'd be a great after-dinner speech story, that, wouldn't it? You'll have to get on the circuit and do that.
It was a real good news story, really. As an outcome, not only for Jordan winning the competition, but also how he's now got a career out of it as well at the same time.
And then the following year, you did the New York.
I did the New York one to see the Knicks, the basketball team. So the winner went off to New York for the Knicks' very first home game of the season in Madison Square Garden. So I paid for a trip there, for another trip of a lifetime, to again reward another Stronghold member for the loyalty offered to the club, to have a chance of going off to experience an unbelievable experience of going to New York and seeing another sport as well.
Is it something that you'd do again? Is it?
Yeah, I would never say never. I think it's good. It was good because I got sort of positive feedback from the Stronghold members. I think the club unfortunately didn't agree with it, and that's why the competition started. And I think they sort of give me the feedback that it was a bit adverse sort of feedback, which was a bit strange, because given the nature that I'm sending one of their loyal fans for a holiday of a lifetime. But so I would never say never, no, because I think it's nice to reward loyalty with an opportunity, but also I say from a sponsor's point of view as well, it's further sort of branding for
no, it's quite a nice simple thing to do, isn't it? And obviously half time, if there's nothing happening on the pitch, it's, people like to see something happening on the pitch at half time, whether it's a crossbar challenge or, I know Warrington have got that stupid wire fly thing going on. Yeah, you don't fancy that?
No,
running.
I can know anyone of the staff.
You could do that. But yeah, it's always nice to have something to watch and have a laugh at. You weren't the one. Remember the lad who sailed over the Was he wearing a blindfold or something? There's a video of this on YouTube, and he went over.
No, I wasn't sponsoring that. I was in the crowd watching that, and it was.
Did he come to you after? He might have come to PD Law to get a claim.
I was expecting a call when he went over the holdings, and I think he broke his thumb, didn't he?
I don't know.
He got a bad injury.
But it was a good laugh.
It was a good.
Probably not for him.
He tried to not to laugh, but it was a good laugh, wasn't it?
So that's brilliant. And then tell us a little bit more about. You've got another lad. You've got Jake Burns, who's an academy player at Widnes, who's sort of protecting, sort of similar to Jordan in terms of career prospects, but slightly different in terms of he's looking at what happens if he doesn't make it as a rugby player.
Yeah, because obviously with regards to rugby, it's a short-term career anyway, but it's also trying to let Jake focus on his rugby playing and give it every possible chance that he can have, but also on the back of it to sort of cement the idea and give the opportunity of a career behind it. Rugby obviously is paramount importance to him to see if that can be the career for the here and now, but also while he's doing that to get used to working in a different environment as well, because obviously a rugby environment with the players and the lads that goes on to working in an office in a law firm is two extremes really of day to day, and it's good experience then to give him the taste of a possible another career that he could move into as he's eventually coming to the end of his playing career if he's successful in getting to the first team.
And I suppose he's laughing because if he does make it, he's already got a player sponsor.
That's it, yes, I think. So I've sponsored him over the last few years in the academy as well, so it'd be great to continue if he can get into the first team, all being well. That obviously it's a ready-made player sponsor, as you say.
So in terms of your sort of your own personal history of Widnes, did you watch Widnes before you got involved with the sponsoring? Or?
No, I was a big football fan really, and then obviously as I set the firm up in Widnes, as I touched on earlier, I was approached to see if I was interested in any commercial sort of marketing work, and yes, I seized that. And it was as Widnes was sort of making the inroads into Super League, just go back into Super League, and it just went from there really, and snowballed from sort of the very first player, sort of with Dave Allen initially, just to test the water, and then I went on from there for sponsoring the first match I sponsored was Huddersfield. I think that was the game Kev was announced as a signing the day before or whatever, and then it just went from there because it worked really well, so the sponsorship snowballed from there with different ideas, and utilise Kev as much as we can in the local community as well, with going out to local rugby clubs, going out to schools with him, with regards to different fundraising things that we had.
And I suppose the nature of what you do is you're predominantly targeting local people, aren't you? Because you're a local. I suppose there's that many solicitors or whatever that local is your strength, isn't it? So I guess in many ways, as much as it'd be nice to be in Super League, it doesn't necessarily. It's not a massive downer that they're in the Championship, because you can still outreach to the people with the Super League.
Yeah, still outreach to the people, and as I touched on before, with regards to seeing the town's response to what's happened over the last couple of months, it is more of a close-knit support behind it, which may be even stronger than it was before. The attendances are reflecting that. We're a lot more consistent with the numbers that are going to watching. So the difference between, as you say, Super League and Championship from a possible sponsor sort of point of view is not that different, because of the numbers that are even more so behind the team now than maybe they were 12 months ago, 18 months ago.
Brilliant, Phil. Thanks very much for your time, and of course, thanks for your sponsorship.
No
we're going to replace Phil and get Jordan and Jake in here shortly. But yeah, thanks again for hosting us as well. We love your office. It's a nice place down here. It's down by what road? You by the Hive.
By the Hive, yeah. So
is that the best way? You can see it when you go
on the way
to
the cinema, isn't it?
Yeah. So you'll be laughing once they finish these roadworks.
Yeah, certainly will. That's great. No problem.
Cheers, Phil. So we're here at PD Law Solicitors, and we've got Jordan and Jake. We've both got different stories of their relationship with Widnes. Jordan, we'll start with you, because Widnes has changed your life. So just explain a little bit. I know Phil's talked a little bit already about it, but just explain to us how your link with PD Law happened.
So basically, I was a uni student studying law a few years ago, and I entered into the half-time Stronghold membership competition. Basically, kicked to Las Vegas. You had certain zones you had to kick it in. Never kicked before in my life. Played wing, then prop, but never kicked. So I thought I'll have a go. My dad had a go as well, and I ended up getting all the way through. Me and my dad were both in the semi-finals, and I won. So I took my dad to Las Vegas, paid for by PD Law, and then me and Phil just had a chat, said, do you want to come in for some work experience? And a few years later, I'm a solicitor now, so changed my life totally.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you took your dad, because I mean that'd have been an ultimate sort of blow, wouldn't it, if you'd have beat him in the semi-final and I said, sorry Dad, I'm taking the missus to
it would. Well, thankfully she wasn't 21, so she couldn't come, and me and my dad made a pact, so if he won he was going to take me, right. And I won, I had to take him, so it was great, had a good time.
I'm trying to remember what it was. So you had to kick. Was it the one where you had to stop it between the 10 metres?
Yeah, you had to pick your zone.
Right, yeah.
So you had to kind of nominate your zone. The further away it was, you got more points. So go for big each time and hope it lands. And thankfully it did. And
how did you get into doing it? I can't remember. Did you have to email the club or something to get it?
I think we had to email. I can't remember if it's the club or PD Law, but basically email him. It goes into like a random ballot. And me and my dad both got picked out, luckily.
Right. And obviously you were studying law at the time.
Yeah, studying law, so realised it was a solicitors and thought, see what we can do. I had a chat with Phil and came in, I think I did a week just after I came back from Vegas work experience, and then couldn't get rid of me now, I'm back.
Yeah. And obviously you've been watching Widnes, I mean obviously I know you a little bit and obviously seen you at games and stuff, been watching Widnes for a long time.
Yeah, all my life, from Warrington. But
so am I actually. So,
yeah, but Dad's took me to the games since I can remember. So all through the Championship last time, Super League, Championship again. But good times.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously now that's it. You're stuck PD Law forever now. You've got to show your loyalty, haven't you? Be like Widnes. You can't support anyone else.
I know.
You can't go lawyering or whatever you call it. Anybody else? But a brilliant story. But I suppose, in some ways, credit to yourself for taking that opportunity, because it'd have been quite easy for you to just take the holiday and not speak to Phil and not get something, but obviously you've preserved your life. Phil should have just said, I'll sack the holiday.
I know, yeah.
Give you the job.
Give you the job, no holiday.
Phil could have gone to Vegas.
I know, yeah. I think you prepared that.
Jake, move on. Did you two work in the same? Are you in the same office or?
We're just upstairs together. Yeah.
So we got Jake Burns. So Jake, you're in the Widnes Academy at the moment.
Yeah.
And very, very responsible of you. We have to say that you're sorting a career out for yourself. Just explain a little bit about what you do at PD Law.
Basically, I'm the account assistant. I work with Alison, the head of accounts, and just do any tasks she wants me to do. Really. Yeah.
And obviously, you're hoping to make it as a pro rugby player, and but always at the. I mean, I suppose young kids now these days are encouraged to get a career behind them as well, just in case you'd like to think that you're going to make it, but just in case you don't.
Well, yeah, that's the goal, to make it in the first team, but you always need something behind you. It doesn't last forever, does it, the rugby? So it's always good to have something back up.
And obviously with this at the moment, quite a good pathway, so that must be encouraging to young players when you can see that the amount of young players that Widnes have obviously brought through and have already got in the first team.
Yeah, it is. It's a good insight, saying you can come through it rather than going and signing another place. Makes it possible. So
what's a day look like for you at the moment? Are you in here in the morning and then training in the afternoon? Is that how it works?
Yeah, come here 9 till 1, go home, get ready for training at 3 o'clock then, 3 till 5:30.
So long days for you. It could be worse though. You could be training at 7 in the morning and then have to come here after. So is that something, obviously you'd like to think you make it as a full-time pro, but I suppose would playing part-time be something you might consider next year or in future years if you're not full-time?
It's something that I'd have to think about, but just have to see how it goes from now on.
And obviously long-term, what would you look to do if not the rugby? Is this the sort of thing that you obviously got interested in now?
Yeah, something like accounting would be something that I'd be interested in doing, going back to college again and getting a qualification in it.
And just tell us a little bit about the rugby. I know we had a little bit of a chat off there before. Just tell us about what amateur club did you come through?
Widnes Moorfield. I was there for 10 years, I think, 6 till 16. So
there's a few lads in there from Moorfield in the academy at the moment?
Yeah, there's quite a few that I've played with throughout my career.
And what position are you?
Play hooker.
Yeah, which we'll say this on camera now because I said we could do with being a hooker because we're a bit short in that area at the moment. So, have a look at it. How's it going? And you've played a few games, have you, this season?
Yeah, 4. We had a slow start to the year. We lost the first 2 games, but over the last 2 weeks, won good games. Yeah, getting into it now.
And do you know any of the lads in the first team? I guess you'd have played some academy, would you, with some of the lads who made there in the first team?
I think the other day I played with 8 that were in the first team, so I played with 8 of them throughout the academy. So
obviously it's not that. I mean, how daunting is it when you're a young player and you're obviously trying to impress, aren't you? And then at the same time you're thinking about, what if I'm asked to train with the first team and you've got to step up a level? What does that feel like?
It makes it a lot easier knowing more of them, especially with like the first team. They're really good with like talking to us as well. So I don't think it's as bad as people think. Yeah,
and obviously Phil Finney's been there a long time, and he creates this brilliant culture amongst the young lads. And is that every player I speak to who's come through with the system says the culture's really good, and the way that they look after the young players is really good as well.
Yeah, everyone knows everyone. Everyone's like approachable, and it just makes it easy to talk to everyone, and then everyone just loves being there.
So Jordan, you'll be tapping Jake up for tickets next season.
Yeah, definitely. Every game.
Lads, thanks very much for chatting with me. It gives us a nice little different angle on the show. And obviously, good luck, Jake. Hope you make it. I hope I'm not shouting at you from the shouting bad things at you from the terraces next season. And Jordan, obviously, all the best for your career as well.
Brilliant, thank you.
So there you've heard from 3 people from PD Law. We've had Phil Dorr, we've had Jordan Shard, and we've had Jake Burns. Hope you found this one interesting. Of course, always looking for different ideas that are a little bit more entertaining than me talking to the camera, so I hope you've appreciated this one. I certainly appreciate PD Law for their support of the podcast this year. Of course, that all went into the Widnes GoFundMe page. Thanks also to Musical All Sorts, Arnold, Gorse Financial Management, and Deals the Jewellers for their support this season. Don't forget to please share and subscribe to the YouTube channel, share on Facebook, Twitter, etc. Give us your comments, and I'd love to hear your suggestions as well for what you want to see on future podcasts. But that's it from me for this week. I'll see you next week.